Geez. There's a lot to kind of touch on. Most of it is little tidbits. And then there is the hack, which I'm sure almost everybody's already informed on because I think it happened I want to say the Sunday after I did my last stream, and it's been circulated around and talked about all this time. So I am the last person who really gets to offer commentary on it at all. But I suppose now is the time, isn't it? So on Monday, I said Sunday, I was close. It's Monday. Claire from Chudbuds.lol, a fediverse instance that was adjacent to the drama community. The Chudbuds thing is a meme from Medicare. Last year, he called the year 2022 Year of the Chud. All of his streams were Chud themes, and it inspired Claire to make a fediverse instance, which, if you don't know somehow, is like Twitter, but it's like email and Twitter met each other. You can run your own Twitter server that interacts with other servers. She sets up one called Chudbuds.lol, and lots of people join. Several thousand people, actually. Jim himself joins to participate in the good old times on Chudbuds, especially because Post has a kind of a bad reputation with a lot of people because Graf's official stance is that Lolicon is fine, and he is very slow to defederate with Lolicon instances. He only recently defederated one of the largest Lolicon only instances based out of Japan, and only because the moderators were so slow at dealing with child pornography that he couldn't justify the hazard anymore. So he's like, we have to defederate you. Not that anyone warned him, of course, that these instances would have child pornography on them because they're attracting pedophiles, but that's another issue. So a lot of people moved over to Chudbuds just to dodge that bullet. I almost did, but I didn't want to call it. I'll talk about the graph stuff in a bit. Don't let me forget that I said that. But it got hacked, and it didn't just get hacked. It got super mega hacked. What does that mean? Claire, for the many people who use Chudbuds, spun up a Minecraft server. How joyous. Fun, frolicking with friends in Minecraft. And a unknown person reached out and suggested, hey, Claire, why don't you try these mods? Try these mods from this official website that has good download links that are reviewed by moderators on the community. And here's a special super cool mod for Fediverse friends just for you and for this awesome instance, which was a Mediafire link that nobody had evaluated. Confident in Microsoft's ability to sandbox Java, she ran a Minecraft mod from an unknown distributor, which from my understanding had one payload. It connected to the temporary storage areas where Chrome forks like Brave, I think multiple browsers store the password vault on your computer. And it downloaded all the passwords for all of her websites, or for all websites she personally uses. Not just her instance, but basically all of her personal passwords. So they got access to her emails. They found photos of her husband's very gnarly looking penis, which had some sort of injury. I'm not entirely sure what was happening, but he was literally using super glue to heal a wound on his penis skin, and include her nudes, which, contrary to what other people have been saying, were not sent to Jim. They were sent to, I think, to her husband. But those got leaked out. Her tax returns were in there, so her social security number and the social security number of her husband, as well as the amount of money that her instance made, which was $12,000. That also leaked out, and a lot of her emails leaked out, and the instance itself was hacked, which means that the perpetrator could download the database. They apparently did not do that. They just gained access to one of the administrative instances, which made downloading the contents of the server more difficult. But they targeted specific people. Now, as I mentioned, the Fediverse is kind of like Twitter. So while it only holds user accounts for the specific instance, it contains a lot of data from outside instances as well. So if anyone had sent private, so quote unquote, private messages to somebody on the Fediverse, it would end up downloaded to the recipient's Fediverse as well. And when I say private, quote unquote, I mean there is no end-to-end encryption. And I should clarify that the Kiwi Farms also does not encrypt private messages. There's no technology for that. Ends in 4.0. My my counterbalance to this is that private messages on the Kiwi Farms self-destruct after 3 months of inactivity, but you should generally never consider private messages to be private, though I never read them. People say that I do, but unless I have a really fucking good reason to pull up DMs, that's not happening. But you should generally never, because it's not encrypted, you should always assume that somebody's reading your messages, right? And that's the case with Chudbuds. That's the case with every Fediverse instance, that if you send private messages, they're not actually private. They're stored in plain text on a database somewhere. So you should treat them like you would treat a Discord message, something which is stored in plain text and which somebody could gain access to. And in this instance, they got access to a lot of different accounts. But there are two of note, three actually just two really of interest that I'll talk about. But this is the impact statement from Claire, going over how not only the DMs, but the email addresses as well. And many people had opted to use work, personal, and educational emails that dox a lot of people who put their address into the system. And now was a great time for me to actually shill a post of mine that I had made, which I forgot to do, but I'll go ahead and show this now. If you go to the forum right now, at the top, Chudbuds was hacked and some people have egg on their face. Are you practicing proper cyber hygiene? Interrobang. Click this and read through it. I might make this a post on my Substack. There are some very simple things that you can do and easily implement on your day-to-day life to protect yourself from hacks like this, which happen all the time. Chudbuds is of particular interest to us because it's drama adjacent. But websites get hacked all the fucking time, and there are very, very easy things that you can do to make your life a lot safer and not have your social security number and credit card floating out. I don't need to shill any particular service. There's a lot of competitors out there. Just look into it. Go read this now if you haven't read this. Not right now. Wait until after the super chat segment and then read this. But then read that today if you don't know what's going on. So that aside, Chudbere shuts down the service, says it's game over. She's not going to come back. She had been streaming. She was propping up her own little stream about drama stuff, very similar to mine. But it's a woman, and she had focuses on different people. I know I don't go hard enough on Ricada. A lot of people wish I would just denounce him as a sex pest, swinger cockhold that he is. BBC lover, Nick Ricada. But Chudbere was all about that shit. She would routinely talk about Nick Ricada. And so Nick Ricada actually was one of the first people to post or to react to it, and his reaction is kind of sleazy. So I'm gonna give him the honor of being the first one played in this segment.
There's a person who spent a lot of time shitting on this locals chat. There's a person who spent a lot of time shitting on this locals chat, and about how awful it was that people were posting pictures of themselves and thirstiness and all this shit. And then something that looked illegal happened, which is that person or their spouse's website got hacked. And in it appears there were nudes posted on that website by the person who is criticizing people for posting non-nude pictures in this chat. So, and there was a really loud person in this chat screaming about how said subject of current drama was the example to look to, because she was very smart and she would never do anything like that. And it turns out, of course, that happens to be not true. So, and I have not seen this, but I have heard that there was a statement made by the person who is the subject of the hack and the leaked nudes, which, by the way, I do not approve of leaking nudes. It's horrible. Horrible to do. But the person who was the subject of that said something along the lines of, I just was not aware of how evil or mean or whatever the internet could be. Really? You weren't aware? You literally cover it. Like that's actually what you talk about. So, yeah.
Okay, I'll cut it there. Number one, to clarify, as I mentioned before, Claire did not send nudes to random people. She sent them to her husband, and they were leaked. So it's not the same as like a locals chat where lots of people are dumping nudes as in some sort of weird nude sharing orgy. It's a bit of a false equivalence, to say the least. He sounds very happy here, which I find is a bit of a dick move. I honestly don't think that there are, besides very select people who I would actually advocate, be happy if they just fucking drop dead. There's nobody I can, not even Ralph, there's nobody I could think of who deserves to have all of their privacy intruded in like that. It's very sad when people have zero expectation of privacy because, like, what, they host a fucking Fediverse instance and do streams that you don't like. Like, that's really shitty. Actually, a lot of people, when I say a lot of people, I mean people specifically in like this person's things. I read through the comments and one person in particular. Number one guy with a clown avatar suggested that I had taken $10,000 from Nick Ricada. If that's the case, I want to know where the fuck it's at. Number two, they said that I go too soft on Ricada. The reason why I do not go full retard on Nick Ricada is that I don't find it funny. There's a lot that I don't talk about that I just don't find funny. And it's like when I think Ricada's fucking up, I think, oh, that sucks. That's not like, haha. But I still talk about it because there is some expectation there that I talk about things, but it just doesn't make me laugh. That's why I don't seem to be at 100% when I talk about Ricada. It's just like, oh, as they would say in the Weeb Wars community, the Baldo is very funny. By the way, someone put me on the Baldo newsletter for some reason. They're breaking news. The Vibraldo is finally out. And let me read this email because it made me laugh out loud when I read it. Pull up my email here. Where's my Vibraldo? Vibraldo. Where is this? Yeah, the vibrating Baldo. Okay, here we go. Finally, after 2 long years, we are proud to announce the launch of our this wording is just the most horrific thing I've ever heard. Jim put you on the list a couple months ago during his stream. Are you? Well, I'm getting the emails. Thanks, Jim. Finally, 2 long years, we are proud to announce the launch of our second ball sex product, the Vibaldo. The Vibaldo, pronounced Vibaldo, doesn't just include your number one request for Baldo to vibrate. It includes all the other improvement requests we've received from you. So it truly is a combination of your requested perfect Baldo TM and powerful vibration system, which provides pleasure for both you and your partner. I can think of nothing I want less than a fucking vibrator on my balls in some kind of like cage. It literally scares me. I feel my testicles retreat into my body just thinking about it. Just the worst fucking thing. The Baldo is funny. The personal decline and seeing him like trample on Claire. Like, I know Claire had been fucking with him and making fun of his locals chat and shit, which is his money. It is his money, but when your money is like that shit, I can only feel so bad that people are fucking with it because it's really gross. But as I said, I just don't find it funny because I am more disappointed than anything. Assuming that it's not all a huge misunderstanding, as I've been led to believe. Now, this is not... Speaking of misunderstandings, the Kiwi Farms Australian Cryptid, the next day, says, hey guys, should I make a Kiwi Farms Minecraft server? I was thinking of making a Kiwi Farms Minecraft server. There used to be one, but it got shut down for whatever reason. If I were to make one, it would definitely be Anarchy, except for the lag machines, obviously. But also, what version should it be? Then we scroll down just a little second, and we got Bew, who is now banned. You're seeing information that only I can see, that his name is crossed out. He says, only if you use this mod pack. there's a suspicious media fire link right here. I don't know who added in "Don't run this, you retards." Either if that was him right before I banned him, or another mod added this. But he actually convinced this fucking retard to run the exact same hack that Chudbere had ran. And he was informed by DM that he has to urgently change all of his passwords and probably reformat his entire computer. So I had to ban Bew. I will allow Bew to appeal his ban by email, but you should wait like 2 weeks. Don't appeal it now. I'm not going to unban you now. I'm very angry at you, you fuckhead. But for right now, he's banned. So that's one of the first casualties of this. The big casualty, the person who's had all the lights, all the fire drawn on him since this, is a man called Christorian. Isn't he dead? This is not actually Bew. Yeah, actually, as far as we know, it is Bew. Now he's banned from the Kiwi Farms. Hopefully he doesn't kill himself for real this time. Now, this finally hits Ethan Ralph. Ethan Ralph tries to do a celebratory stream, and because he is now doing a copious amount of drugs, he apparently does 10 milligrams or 5 Xanny bars every day. And it's really fucking up his gray matter. So he's celebrating the leaks and he fucks up. And see, I don't know anything about drugs, but everyone says that 5 bars a day is a lot of Xanax to take. So I don't know what's up with that shit, but yeah, that's what he claims. So this is his reaction to Claire getting wrecked.
Ed, you're not cut out for this. I talked to her. There it is. I'll put it in just one sec. And I said, literally, you're a mom with like 5 kids and some weirdo husband. Like, you really should just not get involved in this. Because this shit gets nasty, man. You really don't want your family and your pussy out there now. You know they're going to get trolled. By the way, I completely avow sending classmates of her kids all of her nude pictures, if that's legal. Make him then known. Don't send them directly.
Unrelated. 18 U.S. Code 147, transfer of obscene material to minors. Whoever, using the mail or any facility or means of interstate or foreign commerce, knowingly transfers obscene material to another individual who has not yet attained the age of 16 years, knowing that such other individuals has not attained the age of 16 years, or attempts to do so, shall be fined under this title in prison for not more than 10 years, or both. Very good idea to tell your little retard raper fans the source of your money to commit a crime, which has a hefty fine and a potential of 10 years imprisonment. We'll get back to Gator in a bit. Free Bew, I already told you he can appeal his ban in a little bit. Not right now, though. I'm angry at him. Oh, Graf. You're right. Who said that? Steven Fernandez. Mi amigo. In Mexico. Maybe even in Chile. Okay, so the Graf thing. Graf told me to leave his instance because he was chimping out about Proton Mail. If you don't know, Proton Mail is a web service. Mail is inherently insecure. Mail is always sent in plain text. There are some opt-in peer or end-to-end encryption tools that you can use called OpenPGP, but you and the recipient have to know each other's keys to do OpenPGP. And at that point, you might as well just use Signal or some other natively end-to-end encrypted communication system. OpenPGP is not very popular, but it is the only way to encrypt mail in transit. But despite that, it doesn't encrypt mail headers. It only encrypts the body content and the messages. It does not encrypt the subject, does not encrypt the to and from address, does not encrypt any other metadata. It's merely the body and the attachments. So metadata is extremely useful. If you've never seen how the NSA used metadata to arrest people in Italy before, very fascinating how much they can do with very little. So basically, email is an inherently insecure system. And the one thing that Proton Mail does that other competitors like Gmail, Hotmail don't do is that they encrypt mail that is stored on their system. So if they were to try, and your password to your account is your is your decryption key. So if you lose your password, you actually lose all your email history, and they cannot recover it for you, which makes them a good candidate, because then a subpoena cannot get your emails. However, Swiss law has a mandatory holding time for IP addresses for email services. It does not have one for VPNs. So if you use a Swiss VPN like Proton VPN to access a Swiss email service, you're not leaving your IP behind. However, if you choose to connect to an email service directly with your bareback IP, then it does. And there's a minimum waiting time. France is trying to identify a person in France. They realize that he has a Proton Mail account. They get a court order. They submit it to the Swiss authorities. The Swiss authorities agree to conduct the court order in Switzerland. Proton Mail receives a court order from France via Switzerland. The Swiss authorities approved to give the last known IP of a Proton Mail user to French authorities, which leads to an arrest. And this made headlines because Proton Mail is a privacy-oriented service. So if there's anything privacy-related that happens like that, it's big news. Graph freaks out about this and says that Proton Mail cannot be trusted, period. And says that they have sold out to the feds. And I ask him a very simple question. I ask, what would you do if you got a court order? He's Canadian, but his services are in the U.S. What would you do if you got a court order from the United States or from Canada? Because it sounds like his theory is if he gets a valid court order for user information from posts, and I know for a fact that he does in some capacity store IP addresses, and as we just covered, all DMs are plain text, so they could ask for all the DMs on post very easily, either on the Canadian side or the U.S. side, which is a way bigger avenue than just Switzerland. And I just asked, what's your plan for that? If you're criticizing them for upholding a court order from their, federal authority, what would you do if it came from the Canada or the United States? And he told me to fuck off. He said, if you don't like how I'm handling my user privacy, you can fuck off a post then. So I will. I'm going to expedite trying to get KiwiFarms.cc back up. I'm just tired of dealing with it. Graph does this shit constantly. He constantly freaks out. He maligns all Kiwi Farms users. He constantly has back and forths about fucking lolicon and shit. And it's just like his girlfriend broke up with him recently, I think. So now he's like in a particularly pissy mood. And now all the Chudbud leaks are coming out on posts. And he's like, we don't allow doxing. We don't allow doxing. And this is doxing. Her nudes are doxing. And it's just like, it's fucking gay. I don't know how else to phrase it. So I'm going to try to get the KiwiFarms.cc instance up again. Yeah, Gleason Later is cool. But I'm not inclined to move right now. I just don't feel like it. Like, people know where to check on posts to get updates for streams and stuff. So I'm just going to stick to posting announcements related to the site and to my streams. And move off back to KiwiFarms.cc as soon as I can get it set up. And I promise you I'm actively working on that. It's just a lot of bullshit. My situation's very complicated. It's a lot of bullshit to get an internet service up in a way that I'm confident in it. If post bans me or whatever, I guess I'll go to Gleasonator or free speech extremist, which has a much more less drama instance. But I'm just not going to complicate my setup any more than I have to. And in fact, I don't know how, should I be a petty asshole, or should I just move on to the super chats? What do you think? I'm trying to be polite here, because Graph was very hospitable to us during dark times, but at the same time, I'm feeling kind of fucking petty right now. Be petty, okay. I happen to have more followers than Graph on his instance, and this was pointed out to me, and someone told me that he's actually very salty about that. And I kind of don't want to move instances because I want to force him to ban me by doing absolutely nothing. So I'm just holding my ground. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to give him a reason to ban me. I'm just going to not use the account except for announcements and see if he does ban me. Because I have a feeling, I have an inclination that he will, especially once he hears this. Usurp him as top operator. KiwiFarms.cc will probably not replace posts anytime soon. His instance is pretty big, and it's in part because of his anime friendliness. And I'll leave it like that. I'll leave it like that. I'm gonna, I don't wanna, as it were, I just don't want to. Joe for 15 says, "What's with this stupid argument with Graph on post? All I saw was him being retarded and telling people to leave his site if you're concerned about how he handles your data. What's a good alternative instance with Chudbuds killing itself?" I just talked about that. Free speech extremist, I think, has a high reputation. The Gleasonator instance is also pretty good, I think. Gleason's like a proper old school liberal. And wait for Kiwi Farms.cc, I guess. I wish I could announce like Gab, but Gab gave up on the fediverse because anime avatars bullied him to suicide. Schizo Dilbert for 2 says, hashtag free Bew. Maybe in 2 weeks. We'll see. Seek a Loather for 10 says, disclaimer, I am tech illiterate. Would you convince otherwise someone who thinks that chudbuds.lol being hacked makes the fediverse a poor alternative to social media? Same way that you describe it. You just say, like, if shitty email service X gets hacked, you don't say, oh my God, we should stop using email. I mean, maybe you should. Email is shit, but yeah, it's one email server got hacked out in the world. Nobody decided to stop using email because Hillary Clinton got her server compromised. This shouldn't be the same. Twinkle Tart for $100 says, know any good Minecraft mods? Absolutely not. Just play it vanilla. Don't even fucking bother. That's my advice to you, my dear Twinkle Tart, whose money I wish to protect with my genuine response. Thank you. Colia Dante for 15 says, worth noting that passphrases are vulnerable to specialist dictionary attacks, which significantly reduce their entropy. Also worth noting that I've never heard of an individual user account of any site being brute force, so not priority for non-admins. You should increase the entropy of your passphrase by using capital letters and numbers and punctuation. Like if you're using a specialist dictionary brute force method that involves like a list of common words, it usually only tests for like lowercase. So just use an actual sentence with punctuation. That's what I'd use. Multiple sentences. I use like proper like paragraphs for my most important passwords. It literally takes me like 10 seconds to enter in a password for like my password vault the first time. Ludwig for 5 says, I made a YouTube short when Jim added you to the mailing list. Big ups. Let's see.
Oh, you're going to love this, chat. Let's have a chat with Baldo. Hello, do you need to ask a question? I do have a question. I will not fuck dogs. My wife will not fuck dogs. Yiffin' hell. Oh, they want a bunch of information. Okay, well, I know who to send this to. What is Josh's email? I'm on to you. Furries, too smart for that. P.S. I love anime. Good day. There we go. I'm pretty sure Josh doesn't actually watch my Saturday streams, so nobody tell him. The idea that he's going to get an email from a company that makes a ball dildo asking why he's screaming animal fucker at them and talking about anime. What the fuck? Why is this company emailing me? Baldo, I don't know what the fuck that is. That's amusing to me.
Wow. That's crazy. That's content from beyond the grave. Even though Jim has died, rest in peace, and being converted into potatoes as we speak. I have received a joke from him 3 months after the fact. I can't even believe it. I actually thought I thought people were fucking with me. That's pretty good. Thank you. I'm paying Josh for tech support. Lamau for 2 says, Josh, how the fuck do I make Bitwarden automatically update my accounts? Currently, I have to copy its random password to the clipboard and manually create an entry. I have the browser extension and app and disabled my browser's built-in password manager. Yeah, it's not as good as LastPass at detecting when you've created an account and adding the entry. Sometimes I have to add it manually too, but you can't use LastPass because they don't encrypt shit properly. Sorry, buddy. It is kind of annoying at times, but Maybe other ones are better. I don't know. Apparently, KeyPass is actually used by the Swiss government. So if you're not happy with that, maybe try a different one. And I know that you can import passwords into all the password managers and shit. Haas Delgado for 25 says, my instance shitpost.cloud has open registrations for anyone looking for a new place and doesn't want to use Post. Okay. Haas Delgado's instance is shitpost.cloud. .cloud is the TLD. Shitpost.cloud. I hope it's not shit. I hope you don't have Halalicon on it.